Greetings. This is Book Marketing Mentor Judy Baker for another episode of Author Spotlight. And today I'm very privileged to talk with Dr. Greta Oliver, and she's going to be answering my questions and telling us about herself, her book, and her business. Dr. Oliver, tell us a little bit about you.
That's really a long story, but I'm going to keep it short.
Okay.
I am a student development practitioner. I worked on 3 major college campuses, and I've always worked with students. And so I like to think of myself as a student advocate, someone who is trying to help students be able to navigate their road and their pathway to and through higher education. And so that's really who I am. I'm all about students. I'm passionate about helping them find their way and helping their families to be able to support them on that journey. And so this is why I believe I'm alive. I think this is really my purpose. People say they're looking for their purpose and searching. And so I finally kind of feel like this is it. And so I'm just giving my all, trying to use all of my experience, all of my education, everything that I have to try to help someone else. And in this case, it's students and their families.
How did you come up with the name of your book?
Oh boy, that's a hard question. Actually, I did want the book to be like an actual guide or a roadmap. And I didn't initially come up with college roadmap. I came up with college blueprint. And I went a long way. It was called College Blueprint for the longest. And then I had some of my colleagues weigh in. I had one woman that I had done a lot of work with. She was an associate dean at Ohio University, and she was one of the persons that reviewed my book. Yes. And she just suggested, she said, when you think of blueprints, it's kind of like a permanent kind of thing. It's no movement in that title. Right. And so she said, you really should think about something else that portrays a journey, but it portrays movement, because we don't want to think of like students kind of stuck somewhere. Right. And so I said, okay. So she kind of, talked to me about it for a while, and I owe it to her. I owe the title to my friend, Dr. Florence Wright. So in that case, someone that I've always looked up to, someone that I worked with and, for a number of years, she suggested the title and she told me exactly why. And so it wasn't a hard sell. I got it and I made the switch.
And you think about it too. I mean, this is what's really funny. My husband's an architect, so he's dealing with blueprints all the time. Mm-hmm. And I actually worked in the business, not with him. I worked at another firm. And that gives you the foundation and the guide, but the roadmap is taking you on a journey, and it's not static. And you may have some diversions along the way, but if you know how to read a map, you can always find your way to where you want to go. So I really like it. And I love the bright vibrance of your book cover. It looks like you.
Thank you.
It looks, it's positive and it doesn't look scary.
Yes. And that was another thing too. I just want to mention this really quickly. My daughter is a designer. She laid out the entire book. She created the cover. She chose the pictures. She did the icons, the graphics, all of that. And so, I have one of those really tech savvy families and that helped a lot. Yeah. And the thing is, when I thought about writing the book, I was going back and forth between whether I would traditionally publish it or if I would self-publish it, all of that. And it took a while. But when I found out that they kind of change things when you traditionally publish and they can go with their ideas maybe rather than yours, that made the answer really easy for me, because I didn't want to change anything my daughter had done. And so that was one of the reasons, and one of the really important reasons why I decided to self-publish it.
you alluded to this too. So you've worked for several universities,
Mhm.
and you got a feel. What were you doing when you were working for the colleges? Um,
Okay,
Tell us about
tons.
that.
So you
Yeah.
don't even know what you asked me.
Oh, no, I don't. That's what I want to
So,
know.
absolutely. At Ohio University,
Uh-huh.
I work with students with retention and recruitment to the College of Communication initially.
Oh,
And so I did road trips. I brought students there for what we call future communicator days. And we had the students stay on campus to get a real feel for what goes on a college campus, eating in the
mhm.
dining halls, all of that, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
And it was usually a weekend program where we brought like maybe 15, 20 students in
Hmm.
to Athens, Ohio, and just kind of put them up in residence halls and fed them in the dining halls and,
Yeah.
toured them around campus and let them get a real feel for college. And they were, 11th graders at the time.
Yeah.
And so I did that. I also I took part in the Ohio University Journalism Boot Camp. And then while I was at OU, I started working on my PhD in higher education. And
Hmm.
once I received that, I moved into multicultural student retention office there. And so it was the office for diversity, basically.
Yeah.
And so once again, I took on the role of scholarship mentor, scholarship administrator, scholarship director. And I had like several groups of students that kind of reported to me. And our whole idea was to get these kids to the school. And these kids could be in any major. And we had scholars and non-scholars. And so we wanted them to stay there. So it was basically what programs and things, strategies, whatever could we put in place to make sure that the students which were successful. So the students had to come in for advising. We had to do checks with their professors to see how they were doing in their classes and call them on the carpet if they weren't doing what they were supposed to be doing. And we had study tables, all kind of stuff set up for them. We had roundtable meetings, all this just to kind of manage these students while they're on campus. And so there were hundreds of students that I dealt with at Ohio University. And then I left there, and my husband came to UNC, Chapel Hill. He was recruited. And once again, I was here without a job, just like when I went to OU, no job.
Wow.
And so while I was at UNC, I was the interim director of the TRIO program for about a year.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did some other things there. I did the Chuck Stone program, where that was also like a journalism boot camp as well. So same kind of thing. Brought students in, they got experience on camera, they got experience learning about college, they stayed in residence, all of that, yet again at another university.
Right.
And, then with that program, there was a yearly component because the students came in their 11th grade year when they were going into their 12th grade year. And then once they became students at UNC, should they apply there and get accepted. Then we had monthly meetings with those same students as they progressed through UNC. So lots of interaction with students and student development and helping them, just navigate this thing. And so I've seen everything. And that's why I feel like I have a vantage point to help students be able to navigate their process as they go from incoming student to actually graduating.
Okay. Well, that makes a lot of sense. And I wish I would have had that back in the dark ages when I went to school. Now, your book is really, would you say it's more focused on the parents or the kids who are the students?
I know it's hard not to say kids.
I know. Sorry.
I say it too sometimes. So I try to say students.
Students.
And that's kind of hard too, because you're talking about parents and their students. Okay, yeah, right. These are my children. So it's kind of hard, but I know exactly what you mean. Okay. And so the answer to the question, though, is that it's both. And I think that's maybe one thing that kind of makes my book a little bit different than some of the others that are out there. But my book is divided into 3 parts. It is College Roadmap, Essential Tips for First-Time College Students and Their Families. So right there we have parents or guardians or whomever's helping the student, as well as students. And it could be other people besides parents or guardians. Right. And so we have tips that are in the book. And the 3 parts are before the search, during the wait, and after acceptance. And so each portion of the book has various tips that kind of speak to either the student, your parent or guardian, or both, that they can kind of work through together. And the book is meant to be worked on with the student as well as their guardian or whomever is working on the book with them. And it's meant to also be taken with them when they go to school. So before the whole process starts, during the process, when you're waiting for, admissions decisions and things, and then after, when they get on campus and don't know what to do. Oh my God, I'm here and I don't have mom and dad or anybody around to help me. What do I do now? So they can refer to the book because some of the tips help them to navigate that portion of their experience as well.
It's making me wonder, what about, I am dating myself now.
It's okay.
I remember my counselor in high school. Well, I was a little bit of a pain in the neck. I skipped my senior year.
Okay.
I said, I know. I said, I have all of my credits done, and I really don't see the point of hanging out here for another year. And so the first conversation was, well, yeah, but you're not going to be able to go to. I said, no, you're going to get me. I'm going to school. I'm going to college. What do we have to do? And so I really pushed him, but there are college or career counselors and college counselors. So I would think this would be a great tool for people who are helping within a school system as well.
I think that too. And so that's part of my audience too. But the problem with that and all of the marketing and everything that goes on with the book is that it's getting to the person that is the actual decision maker.
Right.
That is a tough little nut to crack. And so, yes, the school counselors, people that are in charge of pipeline programs, things like TRIO directors, AVID directors, church youth groups, anybody that is interested in the success of college-bound students could use the book, and the earlier the better.
I can, my little brain is doing its normal thing, so I'm seeing all of these other
good
ideas.
Let me know who these people are.
we'll talk about that, because I know that there are a lot of programs that can help people. I mean, I also, now I live close to a Boys and Girls Club and a cultural center called La Luz, and so that's for the Latinx community.
Yes.
And I know that they've got a lot of different programs, but I could just see lots of different opportunities where if people were exposed to, here's a tool that will help you as you're making decisions. I think that's marvelous, because there's just so much involved. Oh, okay. Financial planners.
Right.
Your college roadmap. Financial planners would love this, because that would open up opportunities for them to have the conversation about what's going to happen. And
absolutely,
it's not an inexpensive proposition to go to school.
Yes, absolutely. And that is another group that I'm kind of targeting. I'm also trying to target homeschool groups.
Oh, yes.
Because they really don't even have that connection with the school. And so, I mean, believe me, I'm trying to get the information out to people that I know need it, because I know the information is so important, and it could actually change somebody's life. It could change a lived experience for actually generations. If somebody gets to go and experience college and have college experience, they graduate from college, they have a good career, all of the good stuff that we're expecting to happen, that changes their family's trajectory. It's just a thing that goes on and on. And so what I'm trying to do is get in there and get these individuals as excited about it as I am, and also seeing the need for it as much as I am. Because I did notice that, once I was thinking about doing the book, I wanted to do it because I was no longer working. I retired, came back, came home, sat down. And then I said, okay, what I really miss, I missed working with students. I missed making a difference.
Right.
And I really feel that I had made a difference, and I'm in communication with so many students that I work with at OU and UNC and Wake Tech and everywhere else. Yeah. And so, I kind of missed that. And then I also had my friends who suddenly they really didn't know what I did until their kid was, 2 days away from graduating high school. And they're like, what am I supposed to be doing? What should I have done? Should I have filled this out? And I'm just like, what? You knew I did this. Why didn't you ask me this like 3 years ago? Right. When you were in the 10th grade, we could have started something and had the time to really work out a plan. And so I saw all of that. And so because of that, I know it's a needed resource. And so that's one of the reasons why I did it, to help others, to continue to be supportive, and to actually make a difference in somebody's life.
Well, you mentioned something earlier. So I'm sure you did research about what was offered to potential college students. Are there books that maybe are similar, or books that you think are how your book might be different, but are there other books that you might mention that we might be familiar with, or that you encountered as you were looking, and why you continue to write your book?
Okay, there are. And I did a quick search, and I know there are plenty of books out there, because when I put it on Amazon, I had to be in competition with all of these different books too. So right. 3 that I did look up, I actually looked them up and wrote the names down so that I could, portray them accurately. Were, one is called How to College, What to Know Before You Go. And that is by Laura Swartz and Andrea Brin. And then the second one that I looked up was called Win at College by Cal Newport. And the third one is the one that I saw the most, came up with all the searches. And it is The Freshman Survival Guide, Soulful Advice for Studying, Socializing, and Everything in Between. And that's a very long title, but that's by Nora Hale and Bill Garvey. And so I know there are many books out about this. And then there are separate books, because my book encompasses so many things. There are also separate books, like books just about financial aid, books just about, social life, books about, these different topics that are all in my book, in a smaller dose. But I kind of feel like mine, the difference is, once again, I feel like it is something that can actually bring the parents and guardians together with their own students, their children, and allow them to have that time to work together on something that's really important to both of them. And so, if you think about it, students are going to college, and hopefully they'll graduate, they'll get a job, they'll get out of your house, all of that. And so you don't have many more years, honestly, with your students if it's a normal path. And so, I know a lot of students are staying home longer these days, and that's fine, because I miss I have 4 kids, they all went to college. And so that was part of my knowledge base for writing this book, as well as my own story of being a first generation college student as well, being dropped off on a college campus by my parents and having to figure out all this stuff, not knowing all these things that I know now. And so all of that stuff, contributed to the writing of this book. But I'm just saying that you don't have a lot of time to spend, normally if your child leaves college and leaves home. Okay, you're going to miss that. And I do miss that. And so, that time where you're working on finding a college together does not have to be overwhelming and stressful and everybody's pulling their hair out and at each other's throats. It can be a planned process that you can work on with your student, and then, both reap the benefits.
I like that. Ideally, would you say when a student is in 10th grade, 11th grade, when would be the ideal time to start looking at what you're going to be doing?
I'm going to say ninth. I will say ninth
Oh my
grade.
goodness.
And what is that? How old are they then? About 15?
I'm the wrong person to ask that because
I don't
know how old
but
I was,
I'm
and it
seeing
doesn't
around
match anybody
15
else's.
years old.
Yeah.
I know they don't have everything figured out, and they're not necessarily as mature, but a lot of them have an idea of what they're interested in.
Mhm.
And that is where you start. You find out what their interests are. And so we kind of talk about that. Doing an interest inventory, finding out what they're interested in, letting them find out jobs, by looking even at the occupational outlook handbook, and find jobs that are kind of tied to interests, or looking at Holland codes and finding jobs and careers and majors that are intertwined. And then you can begin to do, maybe virtual tours. You don't have to go on any college campuses in the ninth grade, but you can. But it at least can give you an idea of what kind of college maybe you want to go to, and also know that you have to look for a college that will support whatever your interest is. If the kid is interested in mechanical engineering, there are certain schools that are better for that, than other ones. And so if the kid is interested in liberal arts, there are liberal arts universities. So, just finding a type of school, or even if they want to go to community college, just determining what direction you kind of want to go in, even though that might change. It might change, and maybe probably will change. Sometimes people, they think they want to be whatever. I wanted to be a ballerina. Okay. That didn't work. So, but I want to say that, like, in the 8th grade or something, I took a business course. I took typing. And I decided right then and there, because of my teacher, because I was good at it, that I wanted to be a business education teacher. And that is what I did.
Wow.
And so I might be kind of rare in that, because a lot of people don't, stick with what their initial, major is, or their initial interest. And that's okay, because people can change.
Yeah.
But, that is what I wanted to do. That is what I went to school to be. And that is what I was for years. And so, that's kind of weird, like I said, but at least I think at the 9th grade level, students at least know what they like, and they also have a better understanding of what they don't like. And so you could start then with like virtual tours, like kind of looking online at different universities, checking out the, course catalogs. If they will send you, they will send you those, kind of seeing what kind of things go into that major, if you can find a major that's associated, that kind of thing. Looking, and the biggest thing that you need to worry about also at an earlier age is the financial aid component. If a student is going to need financial aid, and they will know, because their parent will know, you can start looking for financial aid opportunities that soon.
Oh, that is just really brilliant as far as I'm concerned. And I think connecting the dots to, I am thinking about this career, so what do I need to know, and where would I go to get that information? And I think that also makes it more fun to do the learning that's going to happen, because it's practical. It's not like, okay, so I'm doing algebra, so what the heck am I going to do?
Absolutely, because I still ask that question. I don't know what I was doing that for, and so, and I still don't really know. But that's a good point. Yes. Yes. And kind of seeing where these courses, because even in high school, if you have room, you can take things that kind of support what your interests are. And, that can kind of even, set your schedule up a little bit better, because if you're in something that you're enjoying, something that you like, you'll do better in them. So
Absolutely.
What a
And
concept, right?
yeah, and knowing that, oh, if I like this, what kinds of things can I do to earn an income with what
Yes,
I like,
yes,
rather than, oh, I'm going to pick this thing and
right.
have no, there's no, there's no integration. So it sounds
Yeah.
like you really thought that through, and I think that's very, very helpful.
Hmm. I
Um,
think it is too.
Now you said you retired, but I'm having a suspicion that you may be doing consulting. Am I correct?
Yes,
Yes.
you
Tell us
are
about
not
that.
far off. I retired and started a
Uh-huh.
consulting company. And my consulting company is basically the same thing as this book, in all honesty.
Oh,
It is helping students and adults also in career transition and in transition from high school to college. And so
yeah.
things that I do in my consulting company would be like supporting students as they are looking for a school, looking for a college,
Yeah.
using the book that I wrote kind of as a roadmap in that case as well.
Yeah.
I also do a lot of resume revamps, resume development, things of that nature to try to help adults in transition to get their resumes together and teaching them how to do cover letters and things of that nature, just to have them being able to be job ready, employability kind of skills and things like that are the things that I offer to teach either in groups or individually, one-on-one.
That's very close to my heart. I actually started a career resource center for people like me when I was going, okay, I've done this, now
Mhm.
what's going to happen?
Right.
And I transitioned from human resources into
Okay.
graphic design,
Wow.
which I didn't even know was a thing until we were doing this, and I went, oh, I've been doing this for how many years, and I can do that. I don't have to do this
Mhm.
other stuff. I'm going that direction.
Right, right. A lot of people want to reinvent themselves and they have to sometimes. And
Oh, yeah.
so that's where I come in. If I can help you or help anyone to kind of see, assess their skill level, see what they
Yeah.
need to supplement, move
Mhm.
on and move toward what they really want to do.
If people want to get into, if people would like to help you spread the word, how would we best support you?
Ooh, just by telling me every and anybody that first of all, who could use this information. Like you said, you're by a Boys and Girls Club. I'm interested in that.
Yeah.
Or different organizations that could potentially use the information. I can send examination copies. I have the ability to do bulk discounts depending on how many books people are talking about.
Mhm.
I can do Zoom podcasts and things that will help individuals learn about it.
Yeah.
I have started actually a podcast. It's called
Oh.
Educate You. And it comes out once a week on Wednesday. It's on YouTube and it's also disseminated through Anchor. And the first series supports the book. So we're talking about the same kind of things that are in the book, and even if somebody doesn't have the book, they
Right.
can learn about some of the things that are in the book,
Mhm.
and still progress toward meeting their goal of being on the road to higher education with their student. And so I'm doing that. So so what you can do is just let me be on your forum like you just like you're doing, and I do
Right.
appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Oh, you are
Tell me
welcome.
any and every person that you think could benefit from the book. Put
Yeah.
me in touch with the people who are the decision makers, the people
Right.
who can say yes and not just kind of shuffle me along from person to person,
Yeah.
and nobody is a decision maker, just to get that information out there.
Yeah.
Just keep telling people about what is available, what I have to offer. That's how you can support me.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, if people wanted to get in touch with you, would you tell them how they could reach you?
Email is Dr. Greta at GretaOliverConsulting.com. Once again, that's Dr. Dr. Greta and that's all together, at GretaOliverConsulting.com.
Excellent.
I also have a Facebook page, Greta Oliver Consulting. I have a website, GretaOliverConsulting.com.
Ah,
Trying to keep it
you're making
around
it
the
easy.
same thing here.
You're making it easy.
Yes, and they can certainly contact me there.
Mm-hmm.
And if anyone wants to contact me and get a free download, they can contact me by going to my website,
Mm-hmm.
GretaOliverConsulting.com /gift, GIFT.
Awesome.
Once again, GretaOliverConsulting.com /gift.
Oh,
And
that's
once they get to that page, they fill in their name,
mm-hmm.
their email address, and then there'll be a little link to click on that says send me the essential gift. They click on that. They will be sent by email a downloadable gift, and I'll tell you what it is.
Okay. Woo. I like that.
In my book, one of the things that I did not mention that I feel makes my book a little bit different than other people's books is that it has working papers in the back. And so what I mean is I talk about students budgeting as a strategy to be able to make it in college. So I have an example of a budgeting form in the back that they could use, or they are directed to go somewhere online and do it online maybe. I have a scholarship information where scholarships are listed, where you can go to different websites and they can, check out scholarship links and things of that nature if they're looking for scholarships. There's a budget back there. There's a time management form back there. So a lot of things like that are back there in the back of the book to be utilized if you want to. I know a lot of people might not want to write in the book, but you can write in the book. It's like a workbook. It's a guidebook. You can write in it and do whatever you need to do as long as you're using it. And so when they click on this essential gifts, they'll get the downloaded I believe it's 5 of the downloaded PDFs that go along and that are in the actual book.
That is so generous. Well, I'm wondering, is there anything I haven't covered that you want to share with our audience today?
Well, I just want to convey, I guess, the necessity for this. I think a lot of people, they don't really get it. I don't know why. And then also parents, and I've always said this, and I'm saying this on the podcast, I'm saying it in the book. Mm-hmm. Parents need to really understand that while they are working on, this college roadmap, they're on the journey with their student. The journey is really the student's journey. They're the ones that have to go away to school. They're the ones that have to go to the classes. They're the ones that have to perform, matriculate through the university and graduate. Yeah. And so, I just want to caution parents to, kind of not really try to live vicariously through their students. And I mean, they do it all the time. Yeah. And, let the student be the student. Let the student choose their path. You are there as a support. And honestly, that's what you're supposed to do anyway. Yeah. That's why we have children. We have children to allow them to grow up and be successful on their own without us. Oh. So, I mean, while that might be kind of harsh and hard to hear, and it's hard because you don't have them around anymore and you don't see them like you really want to see them, but that is the goal. So that's the only thing that I want to say. Just let the student be the student and have fun with this. It doesn't have to be, oh my God, I don't know if my kid's going to get into school. Oh my God, I don't have this, I don't have that. All of this stress is just not worth all of that. It can be a better process than it has been for people who don't have organizational skills, or they don't have a roadmap, or they don't really know what they're doing. Mm-hmm. This is the information you need to actually get you
Oh, now
from
hold
point
that up
A
again.
to point
Hold
B.
up,
Hold it
hold
up.
it up again. It is so pretty, and I
This is
want to
our
get a shot
special
of
one with
you.
the actual roadmap banner
Oh,
here. Roadmap ribbon.
I love it. That is so clever. And wow, you have just packed our conversation with such good tips, not just for potential college students,
Mm-hmm.
but for families,
Mm-hmm.
for people who are looking at, am I going to make a change? And you've just done a beautiful job. And I just feel folks would benefit from this book if they're looking for
Mm-hmm.
schools, and also for those who are in career transition, because
Absolutely.
a lot of stuff has changed recently and will continue to change. So I think you
Yes.
really made something that is evergreen. And I thank you so much. Greta, I'm going to be thinking about who I know, who I can connect you
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
with. And I believe that you're going to have the best of success because you are such a dynamic person. And I appreciate your wisdom today. This was wonderful.
Thank you so much, Judy. I appreciate you having me on.
Okay. Well, we're going to conclude today. And again, this is Judy Baker, Book Marketing Mentor. And you can find me online at bookmarketingmentor.com. And if you've written a nonfiction book, I'd love for you to be an author in the spotlight. Thank you so much.